chosen one. This message is not for the faint of heart. It's for the one who has walked through fire and still stands. You've faced seasons that should have broken you, moments where the weight was so heavy, you wondered if your spirit would ever rise again. Yet here you are, breathing, standing stronger than before. And that's no coincidence. Heaven wants you to understand you were forged in fire. Every tear, every heartbreak, every betrayal was part of your refining. The flames that surrounded you weren't meant to consume you. They were designed to reveal you. You weren't being destroyed. You were being shaped. While others saw your pain as punishment, God saw it as preparation. You weren't in a furnace of failure, you were in the workshop of destiny. The enemy thought he had you cornered, that your faith would melt away in the heat of the battle. But what he didn't know is that you were never meant to crumble. You were meant to crystallize, to become something so resilient, so radiant, that even the fire itself would bow to the glory forming within you. You've walked through the valley where prayers turned to whispers, where silence felt like abandonment. You've stood in the middle of trials that no one else could see or understand. But God says, I was with you there. When the flames rose higher, my hand covered you. When the heat intensified, my purpose deepened. What looked like loss was the beginning of your transformation. So hear this clearly, the fire you faced was never random. It was divinely orchestrated to remove the impurities that could not follow you into your next season. You are not fragile, you are forged. You are not broken, you are tempered. And everything that tried to shatter you has only proven one thing. You cannot be destroyed. You've been asking God, why did I have to go through all of that? The answer will unfold in this message, but know this now, the same fire that frightened you is the one that crowned you. You have been made unbreakable, and soon the world will see what the fire revealed, the version of you that only the furnace could form. The process was painful, but the product will be powerful. This is your awakening. This is your confirmation. You were forged for such a time as this. The fire was never meant to humiliate you. It was meant to initiate you. What you called survival was actually your consecration. There was a reason you couldn't escape it, a reason every exit seemed to close, a reason the same pattern kept returning until you finally looked upward instead of outward. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared for revelation. In the unseen realm, heaven had already declared your endurance as evidence of divine selection. God was not absent when you cried. He was watching the impurities rise to the surface, the doubt, the fear, the dependency on what could never sustain you. The process had to be hot enough to separate what was temporary from what was eternal. And when you reached the point where all you could do was surrender, that's when his hand began to move with precision. Heaven says, I was the architect of the flames. I set the temperature not to destroy, but to define. I knew exactly how much heat you could withstand because I designed the material you're made of. You carry my blueprint, you reflect my image, and what I birth cannot be broken. You see, there are some lessons that only the fire can teach. Not through comfort, not through calm, but through pressure. Because pressure reveals authenticity. When life stripped away everything you thought you needed, what remained was truth, raw, refined, radiant truth. And that truth is this: you are made of something eternal. The people who misunderstood your pain thought you were losing it all. But God was whispering, I'm giving them a glimpse of my craftsmanship. The Creator himself took your ashes and began sketching resurrection. You didn't just walk through a trial, you walked through a transformation ordained by heaven. When you wondered why certain people walked away when doors closed that you prayed would stay open, understand this: divine fire doesn't only purify the vessel, it exposes what cannot withstand divine proximity. Some connections weren't built for your next dimension. Some attachments couldn't breathe in the atmosphere you're ascending to. God allowed the flames to separate loyalty from convenience, destiny from distraction, real faith from borrowed belief. And while others see only the smoke heaven sees, the signal a beacon announcing the refining is complete. The vessel is ready. You've been authorized by endurance. You've been certified by survival. The mark of authenticity on your spirit is not the absence of scars, it's the presence of firelight behind your eyes. What's coming next isn't coincidence. It's the manifestation of divine timing. The same God who allowed the heat is now commanding the wind. The season of burning is giving way to the season of building. The one who forged you in secret is about to reveal you in power. This is why your spirit feels stirred even when your mind can't explain it. Something is shifting in the heavens, and your name is on the decree. What heaven has been preparing is now being revealed. The message is not about what you lost, it's about what is being released through what you endured. You have crossed the invisible threshold between testing and transformation. The season of hidden fire is shifting into the season of divine exposure. There is a decree over your life that reads, Unbreakable. The trials that came against you were not random attacks. They were prophetic signals, proving that what God placed within you carries too much weight for ordinary opposition. You've been wondering why your warfare seemed disproportionate, why small steps drew such resistance, why even silence provoked storms. It's because hell always rages loudest right before heaven reveals the vessel. In the spirit, I see a forge, molten light swirling around a blade, sparks flying as divine hands shape purpose. You are that blade. Every strike, every blow, every flare of heat was divine craftsmanship. And now the prophecy is unfolding. You will rise from the furnace, not fragile but fiery, not wounded but weaponized. The Father says, the ones who mocked you will witness your manifestation. The same ground where you were buried will bloom again, but this time it will carry your name in victory. I will turn the ashes into announcements. You may have felt unseen, but heaven never lost sight of you. Even when you walked through nights so silent, you questioned if prayer was still reaching God. He was still writing your testimony in light. Every unanswered question, every lonely tear recorded. Nothing wasted. Now the time has come for the unveiling. The fire was never about punishment. It was prophecy in motion. It marked you as one who could not be corrupted by comfort. The intensity of your past season was heaven's way of engraving identity upon your spirit. There will soon be moments subtle yet unmistakable where everything begins to align. Opportunities once locked will open without effort. Conversations you never expected will reconnect. Dreams you thought had died will begin to stir again. You'll sense divine acceleration, as if something invisible is pushing you forward while saying, now. That's not coincidence, it's confirmation. The prophecy of endurance is turning into the prophecy of emergence. The same hands that shielded you in secret are about to showcase you in significance. And understand this, the revelation isn't just about external blessing, it's about inner dominion. You will find yourself unshaken by what used to unravel you. The same pressure that once crushed you will now propel you. You'll speak words that carry weight because they've been forged in authenticity. People will sense it not because you boast, but because the atmosphere around you has changed. You will walk into rooms and peace will follow. You'll speak and chaos will still. You'll pray and things will shift. Not because of who you think you are, but because of what the fire made you become. Heaven whispers, what I birthed in the heat will not break in the light. This is the prophecy unveiled that you once tested by flame will now carry flame. You are the evidence that God refines what He intends to reveal. The battles that almost broke you were proof that your purpose was too large for easy roads. Now rise without fear. The furnace is behind you, but the fire remains within you. You are entering the era where what once burned you will now bow before you. Every scar is a seal, every tear a token, every trial a testimony. The fire forged you, but favor will now announce you. Fire has always been the language of transformation. It is the element that purifies without apology, the force that both consumes and creates. In Scripture, fire is not chaos, it is communication. When God appeared to Moses, he chose a burning bush. When the Spirit fell on the disciples, it came as tongues of fire. When Elijah called for confirmation, fire descended from heaven to prove divine presence. This is the mystery you've been living, the sacred pattern of refinement that few understand. The fire you endured was not earthly. It was elemental grace. You didn't walk through destruction. You walked through the doorway of becoming. Because what God intends to elevate, He first ignites. Every chosen one experiences this divine paradox, the tension between pain and purpose, between breaking and birthing. You were not being reduced. You were being revealed. The flames exposed false foundations so you could rebuild on truth. They stripped away attachments that diluted your strength. They burned through illusions until all that remained was authenticity, the gold of your spirit. Think of gold itself. It does not fear fire. Fire simply proves its value. The refining process does not create the gold, it reveals it. The same is true for your calling. God already placed the treasure within you, but it took the heat of adversity to expose it. That's why what once embarrassed you now empowers you. That's why the wounds that once made you weep now make you wise. Spiritually, fire represents the divine will, unstoppable, cleansing, luminous. It transforms what it touches. And so it was with you. When you were surrounded by trials, you weren't losing yourself. You were being rewritten. God was etching His character into your core resilience, purity, clarity. You've probably noticed how your perception has changed. What used to trigger fear now draws faith. Where you once saw endings, you now sense new beginnings. That shift isn't mental, it's metamorphic. You've been transfigured by divine contact. The person who entered the storm is not the one who emerged. Understand, this spiritual fire is selective. It only burns what cannot stay. It's not your enemy, it's your editor. It removes what's incompatible with destiny. It exposes hidden toxins, bitterness, pride, self-doubt, not to shame you, but to set you free from them. And when you feel the heat again, because life will bring new flames, you'll remember this truth: fire does not fear what it has already purified. Once you've been through it, you recognize it. And instead of panicking, you'll say, I know this process. I've been here before. The same God who sustained me then will strengthen me now. The spiritual meaning of this season is simple but profound. What was meant to destroy you became the instrument of your distinction. You were not just saved from the fire, you were shaped by it. You learned endurance, discernment, trust, and vision. You learned how to walk through flames and still carry peace. Now your very presence carries the essence of that refining. People sense your calm without knowing your story. They see your light without realizing it came from being burned, but not consumed. You are, in a sense, a walking, burning bush, illuminated, but intact. A living testimony that divine purpose outlasts pain. This is why your words now have weight. When you speak about healing, it's not theory, it's truth you've lived. When you talk about faith, it's not performance, it's survival. You carry revelation that was not learned from books, but birthed from firelight. And that is what makes your calling unshakable. In every generation, God raises voices that carry the flame of transformation, not to burn the world down, but to light the way. You are one of those voices. You may not have chosen the fire, but the fire chose you. Because heaven knew only someone who has endured the heat can carry the light without arrogance. So when you look back, don't see scars, see signatures. Each burn mark is proof that God's hand was at work. Each trial was a brushstroke in the portrait of your becoming. You were forged, not forgotten. Tested, not terminated. And what was once your battlefield has become your birthplace. The deeper meaning of your story is this: the fire did not define you, it refined you. And now what remains is incorruptible. When a season of fire ends and the refining is complete, heaven begins to leave traces, signals that the process has shifted. You may not notice them at first, but they are there quietly testifying that something in the atmosphere has changed. The first sign is divine calm after chaos. You'll sense peace where anxiety used to dwell. It won't make sense to your mind, but your spirit will feel it, a quiet assurance that doesn't depend on circumstances. It's as if the storm within you suddenly bows to something greater. This peace is not absence of problems. It's presence of divine authority. The fire forged it inside you, and now it radiates outward. The second sign is unexplainable favor. Doors that refused to open before will suddenly shift without you striving. People who once overlooked you will begin to notice your light. Opportunities will find you without effort. It will feel supernatural, because it is. God is aligning the environment with your elevation. You won't have to chase what's ordained. It will recognize the mark of endurance on you and come forward. The third sign is discernment, sharpened to clarity. The fire burned away confusion. You'll begin to perceive truth instantly in conversations, in decisions, in relationships. What once clouded your judgment will now appear obvious. This clarity isn't arrogance. It's spiritual sight, a gift born from surviving blindness. Heaven trusts you with insight now, because you've proven that revelation won't be misused. The fourth sign is divine separation. Suddenly, you'll feel detached from things you used to crave. Certain people, habits, or desires will no longer resonate with your frequency. This isn't rejection, it's realignment. You've ascended to a higher vibration of purpose, and not everything can breathe in that altitude. Let what falls away, fall away. It's a sign that your spirit is expanding into new territory. The fifth sign is inner fire without external cause. You'll wake up some days with energy you can't explain, like something inside you is alive again. That's your purpose stirring. It's the spirit of destiny reigniting what pain tried to extinguish. Don't suppress it. Let that passion lead you to the next divine assignment. And then there's a quieter, deeper sign, synchronicities, that confirm your alignment. Numbers, symbols, phrases, songs, even chance encounters, they'll echo what God has been saying. Pay attention. Heaven speaks in repetition when manifestation is near. When these signs appear, do not doubt them. You're not imagining things. You're witnessing prophecy materialize. The same spiritual fire that refined you now becomes your confirmation flame, flickering in daily life, whispering, "You made it through. The new has begun." These signs aren't just evidence of change, they are invitations. Each one calls you deeper into awareness, gratitude, and readiness. When you see them, don't dismiss them as coincidence. Respond with reverence. Whisper a thank you. Because every sign is heaven's way of saying the forging is complete. Even after the fire has finished its work, there are embers that linger, quiet tests sent not to punish you, but to prove your permanence. Many mistake this phase for delay or setback, but it's actually confirmation that your transformation is real. Heaven doesn't test to destroy, it tests to establish. The first hidden challenge often comes as silence. After breakthrough moments, you may expect constant movement, constant confirmation, but instead, things may grow still. This silence is not absence, it's stabilization. God allows quiet to teach you how to stand in peace without needing constant proof. You are learning to trust your unbreakable nature, not the noise of reassurance, but the knowing that you are now built to endure. Then comes the temptation of old patterns. The enemy doesn't invent new traps. He replays familiar ones. People from your past may reappear. Old fears might whisper again. Doors you've already closed may knock once more, not to pull you backward, but to reveal that you've truly outgrown them. When you see those old patterns, don't be alarmed. Smile. It's evidence that the cycle has ended, and you now recognize it for what it is, a test you've already passed. Another challenge is fatigue disguised as resistance. As your spirit expands, your old environment may feel too small. You'll sense pressure again, but this time it's not attack, it's transition. You are being stretched for new capacity. Don't confuse discomfort with defeat. It's just divine remodeling. Heaven is enlarging your territory both spiritually and mentally. There's also the hidden loneliness of elevation. When God promotes your spirit, not everyone can follow. The higher you climb, the thinner the air becomes. Don't interpret this isolation as abandonment. It's insulation. You're being separated not for exclusion, but for preservation. The unbreakable must first learn solitude before leading the multitude. Then there's the challenge of patience. Even when you've been refined, manifestation unfolds in divine sequence. You may feel ready before it appears. You may see glimpses before full release. That delay is discipline. It's the final tempering of your faith. Every sword forged in fire must cool before it can be wielded. And perhaps the most subtle challenge of all is believing you're worthy of the blessing. After long seasons of struggle, it feels strange to rest. When peace finally comes, part of you might wait for it to vanish. But that's the residue of the furnace, not your future. You are worthy not because you were perfect, but because you persevered. These hidden challenges are sacred checkpoints. They're heaven's way of saying, hold steady. You're almost there. Let the proof of your endurance speak louder than the whispers of doubt. So don't fear these final tests. They're not the fire returning, they're the sound of it fading, leaving behind the strength it built in you. What's coming next will require your wholeness, not your worry. The same God who walked with you through the flames is walking beside you through the finish line. Now that the refining is complete, heaven begins to whisper instruction. This is not a list of rules, it's a divine blueprint for sustaining what the fire produced. You are entering a new dimension of authority, but with that authority comes stewardship. God doesn't just want you to survive the flames, He wants you to carry the fire with wisdom. First instruction: protect your atmosphere. Not everyone can breathe in the environment that birthed your breakthrough. Guard your peace like treasure. You fought too long to reclaim it. Limit access to your energy. Every conversation, every thought, every space either fuels your flame or drains it. Discern carefully. You don't need to explain your boundaries. Your growth already does. Second instruction: speak with fire but walk in grace. Your words now carry weight because they've been purified by pain. Speak life, not reaction. Speak prophecy, not pride. You don't need to defend your anointing. Your endurance already proved it. Every time you speak hope where others see despair, you're releasing heaven into the atmosphere. Be slow to anger, swift to forgive, and intentional with your declarations. Third instruction: keep your altar alive. The fire didn't end when your trial did, it simply moved inside you. Keep it burning through prayer, stillness, and worship. This doesn't always mean long hours of speaking. Sometimes it means silent awareness, breathing, and remembering God is here. The flame inside you is sustained by attention, not exhaustion. Don't let the busyness of your next season extinguish the intimacy that built you in the last. Fourth instruction. Move when God says move, not before. After seasons of waiting, it's tempting to rush. But divine timing is precise. What's meant for you will not require manipulation. It will come with peace, not pressure. Trust the rhythm of heaven. You are not behind schedule. You're aligned with destiny's clock. Move with discernment, not desperation. Fifth instruction, use your scars as strategy. Everything you survived holds instruction for someone else. Don't hide your story. Refine it. What once wounded you now carries wisdom. When you speak from healed places, you open paths for others, still walking through theirs. Your story is a weapon of deliverance. Let it serve, not shame. Sixth instruction, sow where you were once starved. Wherever you once felt abandoned, rejected, or unseen, plant. Love, mercy, and kindness there. That's how you break cycles. The unbreakable don't seek revenge. They create restoration. Your light is not for applause, but for awakening. When you bless where you were broken, you prove that the fire transformed you, not twisted you. Seventh instruction, expect spiritual acceleration. You will notice how quickly things begin to align. Don't resist it. The season of grinding gives way to the season of gliding. But acceleration without grounding leads to burnout. That's why humility must walk beside increase. Let expansion come naturally. Let grace pace your growth. Eighth instruction. Keep your eyes forward. Nostalgia is a subtle snare. The enemy will tempt you to look back and romanticize what God already redeemed. But the furnace behind you no longer defines you. What's ahead carries more glory than what's gone. Every step forward is a declaration that the past no longer owns your narrative. Ninth instruction. Return gratitude to your routine. Gratitude is the language that sustains miracles. Say thank you daily for what you see and for what you don't yet see. Gratitude transforms ordinary days into sacred ground. When you live thankful, the fire within becomes steady light. 10th instruction. Remember who authored your strength. It wasn't luck. It wasn't talent. It was grace, raw, relentless grace. Never forget the one who stood with you in the fire. Keep humility as your crown and worship as your weapon, because the moment you forget the source, you risk dimming the flame. These divine instructions are not burdens. They're blueprints for unbreakable living. You've been trained by adversity. Now you must walk with authority. Your destiny is no longer a distant dream. It's a living decree. But God says, guard the flame. Walk in wisdom. Shine with reverence. For the light I've placed within you will guide nations, heal hearts, and expose darkness, but only if you remain pure in purpose. Let obedience be your offering and peace your proof. You were forged for this. Now that you've received your divine instructions, understand this truth. You are not walking into this next season alone. The same presence that stood with you in the furnace is surrounding you still. God does not refine and release without covering. The fire forged your strength, but grace establishes your safety. There is an invisible shield of peace now resting upon your life. You will begin to notice it. Moments that once triggered fear will suddenly feel different. You'll sense a divine calm rising before panic has a chance to speak. That calm is not your doing. It's heaven's defense. God's Spirit has become your atmosphere, wrapping your mind in serenity, your heart in assurance, your path in light. And when the enemy tries to revisit what's been conquered, he will find no entry. The flame that once purified you now functions as a barrier of glory. Darkness cannot dwell where divine fire lives. This protection is not just external, it's internal. You've been sealed in wisdom. You won't fall for the same distractions because you can now discern deception before it even approaches. God says, I have encircled you with light. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Every plot will crumble under the weight of my word. I will fight battles you don't even see. I will silence storms before they find your shore. Heaven is not only defending you, it's announcing you. Angels are being assigned to guard the territories you step into. Doors will open not by manipulation, but by mandate. You'll walk into spaces and feel divine alignment working quietly in your favor. You'll realize this protection is active, not passive. Even in moments when uncertainty whispers, remember, safety is not the absence of conflict. It's the presence of covering. The same hand that held back the flames in your past season will hold back opposition in this one. Every assignment from darkness must pass through divine permission, and permission has been denied. Your name has been written under divine covenant. You are marked by endurance, recognized by heaven, and guarded by grace. No curse, no word, no envy can penetrate what God Himself has sealed. This is why you can rest now. You no longer need to live in survival mode. You don't have to anticipate betrayal or brace for loss. The walls around you are not fear-built. They are faith-forged. You are protected not because danger disappears, but because divinity stands between you and it. So breathe easy. Sleep without worry. Walk without hesitation. The path ahead may twist, but it will not trap you. The light of the fire now becomes the lamp for your next step. And wherever your foot lands, peace will follow. You are covered fully, fiercely forever. What the fire began, fulfillment now completes. You are stepping into the chapter that your pain prophesied. The very storms that once buried you have become the soil where your promise blooms. What was hidden is rising. What was broken is being crowned. What was delayed is now divinely delivered. Transformation doesn't happen in an instant. It unfolds like dawn, one ray of light at a time. And if you pay attention, you'll see the signs of sunrise in your own soul. The heaviness that used to follow you begins to lift. The self-doubt that used to paralyze you begins to fade. You begin to speak differently, walk differently, think differently. Not because you're trying to change, but because change has already happened deep within. The reflection you now see in the mirror is not who you were. It's who you were destined to become all along. The scars remain, but they shine with purpose. The places that once ached now carry anointing. You are living proof that God's fire refines, but never ruins. And soon the external will align with the internal. Favor will find form. Divine timing will turn into divine unveiling. The opportunities that once seemed far away will locate you. Not because you chased them, but because your frequency changed. You are vibrating at the rhythm of destiny now, and everything meant for you is magnetized toward you. Doors will open with ease, not struggle. Conversations will carry weight. You'll begin to walk through days that feel like confirmation after confirmation, each one whispering, this is what the fire was for. You'll also notice restoration in ways that feel both miraculous and tender. God will begin to restore what you thought was permanently lost. Peace of mind, divine relationships, creative flow, health, confidence, joy. Not just returned, but multiplied. Because when heaven restores it, never replaces one for one. It gives double for your trouble. Your influence will expand. People will look at your calm and not understand how you carry so much authority without striving. They'll sense something unexplainable, and that something is the residue of God's refining. You won't need to announce it. Your presence will do it for you. And even greater than all that, you will finally understand why it all had to happen. The tears that once felt wasted will now reveal their purpose. The betrayal that once shattered you will make sense in the light of destiny. You'll see that nothing was random, every moment was orchestrated to bring you to this place of revelation. In this season, fulfillment will not be about material reward alone. It will be about alignment. You'll know who you are, why you're here, and who walks with you. You will feel heaven's rhythm pulsing through your every decision. There will be a stillness in your confidence, a fire in your gentleness, a radiance that speaks louder than words. And here is the promise. What the fire forged will last. This strength, this peace, this wisdom, it's permanent. The same hand that led you through darkness will now crown you with light. The fulfillment of the prophecy is not just an event, it's a becoming. You have become what the storm could not destroy. You are the living manifestation of endurance, the unbreakable one, the chosen one who rose from the ashes with divine fire still in your eyes. You are ready for visibility, for victory, for voice. Heaven smiles upon you and whispers, "It is done." Take a deep breath. Feel the stillness that now surrounds you. The fire is behind you, the light is before you, and the presence of God rests within you. You've come through the valley, crossed the threshold, and stepped into the new. Heaven bears witness the forging is finished, and the unveiling has begun. Before you move forward, let these words anchor you. They are not mere sentences, they are spiritual seals, affirmations to keep the flame alive within you. Speak them out loud, and let the atmosphere respond. Affirmation 1. I am unbreakable because I was forged by divine fire. Let that truth sink deep. You did not just survive, you were transformed. No storm can undo what the furnace has solidified. Affirmation 2. I walk in peace that cannot be stolen. Your calm is your crown. You don't chase it, you carry it. The world cannot touch what heaven has already sanctified. Affirmation 3. Every scar on my soul is a testimony of glory. Nothing about your journey was wasted. Each wound became wisdom. Each trial became light. Affirmation 4. I am protected, prepared, and positioned for purpose. Say it slowly. Believe it fully. You are no longer wandering, you are walking in divine alignment. Now receive this blessing. May the same hand that shielded you in the fire continue to guide your steps in the light. May every day ahead reveal another layer of divine promise fulfilled. May your voice carry healing to the weary, hope to the broken, and fire to those who've forgotten their spark. Where you once saw ashes, may you now see beauty. Where you once felt weak, may strength overflow. Where you once feared loss, may you now embrace abundance. Heaven declares you are the living evidence of endurance, the reflection of resilience, the vessel of victory. The story of your survival is no longer about what you endured, but about who you've become. So rise now, not in haste, but in holiness. Walk as one who has been chosen, cleansed, and commissioned. Let every step be a reminder that your past no longer defines you. Your purpose now propels you. Go forth shining, not with the fire that burned you, but with the fire that became you. It is done. It is sealed. You are unbreakable.